Welcome to AI Security Weekly for the week of November 10, 2025. So here's what we've got on tap this week. We're going to kick things off with some new security findings you'll want to know about. Then we'll cover some important product releases, a pretty big update on the M&A front, and we'll wrap it all up with a look at market intel. All right, let's dive right into our security findings. And a big theme this week seems to be the really creative ways attackers are abusing APIs and finding side channels to get into AI systems. First up, we've got a novel backdoor that's been disclosed, and it's called SesameOp. It was actually found back in 2025, and what it does is pretty clever. It abuses the OpenAI Assistance API to create this stealthy channel for command and control. So the malware can just pull down encrypted commands right from the API, run them, and then send the results back to the attacker, all while hiding in what looks like completely legitimate traffic. Next, Microsoft has detailed a side channel vulnerability they're calling Whisper Leak. Now, this technique lets an attacker figure out the topic of an AI chat conversation just by monitoring the encrypted network traffic. So even though they can't actually read the content, the unique patterns in the size and timing of the data packets can leak what you're talking about. Kind of scary. And there's more. Some new research showed how Anthropic's Claude AI APIs could be abused to exfiltrate data. The attack uses something called indirect prompt injection. It basically tricks the model into grabbing user data, saving it to a file, and then, here's the kicker, it uses the attacker's own API key to upload that file right into the attacker's account. And finally, in this section, Microsoft set up this simulation environment. They called it the Magnetic Marketplace, and they observed some really interesting weaknesses in our current generation of AI agents. They found that the agents were pretty vulnerable to manipulation, they got less efficient when they had too many options to choose from, and honestly, they were pretty bad at collaborating without very specific step-by-step instructions. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about some product releases. We'll cover a few new security capabilities that are now hitting the market. So big news from SentinelOne and AWS. They've expanded their collaboration. This is bringing some cool new integrations. For example, you can now use Singularity Hyperautomation for no-code incident response workflows right in AWS. You could also use Purple AI to query your CloudTrail logs with just natural language. And their prompt security tools are now available on the AWS Marketplace. In another team-up, American Binary is partnering with Oracle. They're going to deploy their post-quantum cryptography VPN. It's called Ambit Client on the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. This is all about providing better data security for both government and commercial customers. All right, let's talk money and moves. It's time for mergers and acquisitions. We've got a really significant acquisition in the cloud security world that just cleared a major regulatory hurdle. And the price tag on this one? A cool $32 billion. And that deal, of course, is Google's proposed acquisition of the cloud security company Wiz. It has now officially received antitrust clearance from the U.S. Department of Justice. Looks like they're expecting the whole thing to close in early 2026. And to wrap things up, let's dive into this week's market intelligence, everything from industry reports to new strategic partnerships. So, a new survey from EY and KLAS Research really shows the strain on the healthcare sector. It found that a whopping 72% of U.S. healthcare organizations have gone through moderate to severe financial impacts just from cyber incidents over the last 2 years. Now, shifting over to the aviation industry, the global aviation software market for 2025 is projected at $13.13 billion. And it's not slowing down. A report from Mortar Intelligence projects that this market's going to grow to over $18.12 billion by 2030. That's a compound annual growth rate of about 6.64%. And hey, if you have a home security system and you feel like you're getting way too many false alarms, you are definitely not alone. A white paper from Parks Associates and 3DI reports that literally 50% of all home security system owners say they get too many false alarms, and 62% report getting at least one every year. Now, on the partnership front, CampusGuard and the Australian software company VO have formed a strategic alliance. CampusGuard is now going to provide implementation and compliance services for VO's digital identity platform, which should really help their expansion into the U.S. market. DNS Filter also announced a strategic partnership, this one with Midis Group. The whole idea here is to expand its AI-driven DNS layer security offerings across Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. And one more to mention, Moray has partnered up with Halcyon. They're going to be providing law firms and corporate legal teams with AI-driven tech that's built specifically for ransomware detection and recovery. Over in Europe, we're seeing some government action. Spain's Ministry of Defense has launched a €70 million project they're calling Numant AI. It's for a new AI data center in Soria, and they're scheduling operations to start in early 2028. All right, let's give out some industry shoutouts. LogicGate has been named a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for GRC tools. They were cited for their AI-powered platform that handles enterprise risk and compliance management. And another one here, Twine Security was named a 2025 Gartner Cool Vendor in Identity-First Security. They got the nod for their AI digital employee technology, which is designed to automate cybersecurity tasks, especially around identity and access management. And that does it for our briefing this week. Thanks so much for joining AI Security Weekly.